Good morning, Orchard STEM School. This is Mr. Hoydick, the art teacher. Today I'm going to show you how to paint your landscapes with watercolor. You can see I have it set up with the watercolors down here, my water right here, a little paper towel underneath, and I have my landscape that has the different layers like drawn. I've already thought about what kind of colors I want to use. So what I'm going to do is dip the brush in the water, and I'm going to go over to the orange and I press very lightly. I tell the little kids I tickle the paint. Tickle, 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 tickle. And what that does is it activates the paint. Now I might want some more water, so I'll dip in and out real quick. If I dip the brush in the water and I keep it in there, all the paint will leave, and I don't want that to happen. So there we go, tickle, 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 tickle. And I want to go, and maybe, let's see, I'm going to do this mountain way back here. And so I'll pull the paint across that area. And this mountain way in the background, because of perspective, how we see it, it's going to be pretty light. So there we go. Now I'll go to the next mountain. You know, I want to create some more paint, so I'm going to dip in and out. Tickle, 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 tickle. And I'm going to tickle it for a little bit longer. What that's doing is making the brush pick up more pigment, more color. So when I do the next mountain, it's going to come in darker. Matter of fact, that first orange looks a little bit yellowish. Now look, I picked up a little more paint, and when I go back and I paint over it, it's darker. Do you see that? And we actually layer with watercolor. So if I want this orange to be like darker than it is, I can let it dry a little bit and then put another layer on. And I pull the paint all the way across. Now this is a smaller brush, so for your large areas you have to do it like in rows almost. You can get watercolor brushes that are much larger. This just takes a little bit more time. Now if I just pick up, my paint pan is starting to dry, and if I just pick up some paint, you can see that it is darker and it's streaky. If I don't like how that is streaky, and I don't like how that's streaky, I'll dip in and out, just get some water, and you can actually add water to your painting where the paint is, and it kind of activates it and it makes it spread out some more. I'm going to dip in and out. I'm going to create some more paint in the pan. Oh, I got a little out of the pan. I like picking that up and using it. And I'm making this area, this mountain range, this mountain area, a little bit darker. I want it to look different. I want this area here to look darker than the top area. And I think I'm being successful. Now you can see I want it a little darker here. So I'm adding some more paint to the top there. I'll dip in and out, get a little bit more orange. I'm going to fill in right there. And so this top area is done. I'm going to do the area over on the left that is also furthest back. Let me adjust my camera a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Now this is coming in a little bit darker than I want. So I'm going to pull the paint down the mountain range. And when it gets streaky, get a little bit more water, a little bit more paint. Ooh, look how dark that is there. I can use that and I can pull that pigment or color all throughout the whole area, like that. Now I'm going to do the mountain range in the front, and I'm going to need a lot of paint for that. So I'm dipping in, and I'm going to use a base of orange, and I'm going to be careful not to paint the trees that are at the bottom of this mountain range. And I've only used orange so far. When I change colors, I'm going to need to clean my brush. And this mountain range is the darkest out of all of them. Dip in and out, activate some more paint. And if it seems like all the orange shades are the same, that's when I'm going to need to blend another color in. And I think either red or brown. I'm gonna see how it goes. And I'm painting around these trees at the bottom, this tree line. You can always make your paint darker, but once you paint it, you really cannot make it lighter. So I notice a lot of this orange is a little bit light. It's actually as light as the furthest back. So I better activate some more orange. And it's a little streaky. I'll get some water and I'll get that streak out. Be careful when you paint. Like if you put your brush in the paint tray and then back in the water, it is almost like you're just putting your paint in the water. You don't want the paint in the water. You want the paint on your painting. Now, whatever color you start with, I know some of your landscapes had more green for trees. Some of them had more like gray for mountains. So whatever color you start with, you want to put down as a base. If you see paint going into your water, then that just means it's something you need to be a little more observant about. If your water is changing color darkly, you're kind of wasting the paint. And that's something I'll remind you of. Okay, now I have that mountain in. This mountain in the middle is just a little bit too light, so I'm going to let it dry just for a minute. I'll dip in and out. And to make it darker, I might actually add a little bit of purple. When I do that, they'll blend together and make sort of a brown. A little bit more purple, and especially along this ridge here and this ridge here. And dip in, get a little bit more. And it's really important that you're sort of delicate with the brush. Like watercolor is not like a slap it on medium. It's a more delicate one. I like how portable it is. And if that's way too purple, I think that's way too purple. I just need to drag it away, pull it down into the rest of the painting. All the way down to the bottom. Let's get a little bit more purple. Bless you. I'll go ahead and fill in there. There we go. So I think that's enough for today. Next time I'm going to work on getting some of the tree and the shoreline. I think I'm going to do the sky and the water at about the same time because they're both blue. So when I do watercolor, what I really do is identify where is this color located, and I color all that color at once. When I'm done, I'll clean my brush, and then I'll go on to my next. Like when I added purple, I cleaned the brush and then I added purple. Notice the pan, I kept all the colors like clean. I don't go from pan to pan. What that does is kind of muddy your colors up, and then they're not going to be as bright, they're not going to be as fresh. I cannot wait to see how you do on this. Try your best. Have a great day. Thanks.